This is maybe a crazy statement, but I think we're going to go back to a pay-per-use economic model on the internet. Everyone has subscription fatigue. Everyone complains about them. Like, no one wants all these subscriptions. And people actually say all the time, if only I could pay per use, if only I could buy just this one thing, I totally would.
This episode is brought to you by iTrustCapital. iTrustCapital allows you to invest in crypto as well as precious metals like gold and silver via an IRA. And this gives you huge tax advantages. So you can invest in over 90 crypto assets, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, and many more. You also get access to stablecoins such as Circle's USDC and Ripple's RLUSD. And as it relates to precious metals, you can invest in gold and silver, and these are the physical assets. So you're not investing in paper gold and silver. So on this platform, you can redeem the gold and silver if you choose to, and not many platforms offer that. Now, the big advantage to investing via iTrustCapital's IRA is the huge tax advantages. Many of you know you incur capital gains taxes when you sell at a gain. Well, you can minimize the effect of some of that by doing it via an IRA, especially if you have a long-term view on crypto as well as precious metals. And you can buy and sell crypto and precious metals 24/7. It's low cost and no monthly fee. So this is a great option to get exposure to these two great asset classes. And in addition, they have a great custody solution. It's called Premium Custody Account. So it uses institutional grade crypto custody, such as Coinbase Prime, which BlackRock leverages. iTrust also uses Fidelity Digital Assets as well as Fireblocks, and it's a closed loop system. So if someone hacks into your account, they can't withdraw funds. I believe this is the second safest way to custody your assets, right behind self-custody, where you control the private keys. And within the custody account, you could buy and sell 24/7. It's low fees. So this is a great option for custody of your assets, and you can sleep at night knowing that you're getting the institutional grade custodial services. So once again, two great products here from iTrustCapital, the IRA, where you can roll over your existing 401k or IRA to iTrustCapital's version, getting the huge tax advantages, and the institutional custody. And folks, if you sign up with my link at itrustcapital.com/go/thinkingcrypto, you could get a $100 funding bonus. I have an account with iTrustCapital, so I encourage you to go check out iTrustCapital, learn about their services, and see if it's right for you. Again, you can get a $100 funding bonus by signing up via my link, which is itrustcapital.com/go/thinkingcrypto. Link will be in the description.
Hi, everyone. Welcome into the Thinking Crypto podcast. Today, we're recording at Station 3 in New York's Financial District. And joining me is Michael Blau, who is the founder of Drip, which is creating tools that helps writers get paid when AI agents use their work. Prior to founding Drip, Michael worked as a deal partner on the A16Z crypto investment team. Michael, great to have you.
Thanks for having me. Great to be here.
Yeah, Michael, the intersection of content, AI, and crypto, things that are dear to my heart. So yes. I'm excited to talk about what Drip is building. Very fascinated by it because I use Substack. And I'm like, great. Okay, I got to figure out what you're doing here. How can I use that to my advantage? But let's start with your background, Michael.
Definitely, yeah.
You have a fascinating background. Tell us about where'd you grow up, where you're from, and you worked as a magician with David Blaine?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, so here's my story. So I was actually born in New York, Long Island. When I was around 5 years old, my family moved to Las Vegas. So I grew up in Las Vegas. I just say I'm from Vegas because that's where my whole life is. Grew up there, and then I went to school at Washington University in St. Louis for undergrad. I studied finance and computer science there. And then after that, I started my crypto career. And so I'm happy to dive into that as well, but that's where I'm from.
So where did you meet up with David Blaine and become a magician?
Yeah, so my career in middle school and high school was as a magician. That's all I did. I don't think I went to I think I maybe went to one high school party in my whole life. Everything I did on the weekends after school was sitting in my room, shuffling, playing cards, learning magic. I got into it from my dad, actually. My dad used to be a magician when he was younger. And when we moved to Las Vegas, I found his old magic box in the garage. And as a middle school nerdy kid, I don't play sports, I just got bitten by the bug. And so I got super into magic. I've done some cool things in magic, but I was a junior member at the world famous Magic Castle in Los Angeles. And so I would perform there every, once in a while. And then eventually I was extremely honored and lucky to have the opportunity to go like intern and work for David Blaine for a short period of time. The reason that happened was one of my magic mentors, in my opinion, one of the greatest magicians alive today. His name is Ossie Wind. And he was a longtime friend and someone who was a really big mentor to me. And David Blaine was about to go on tour. It was going to be his first like touring live show around the United States. And they needed like some, magic assistants and magic, creatives to kind of sit in a room and make the tricks for the show. And so Ossie was, he basically said, why don't you come and do it? And I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. So I got to come and work for David for a few months in New York, and it was one of the craziest experiences of my life, for sure.
That's so cool. We were talking before the recording. I'm currently, just this week, I started watching his National Geographic shows. I forgot the title of it. It's something like "Don't Try This at Home" or something like that.
Great title. Like he nails the titles. It's really good. Yeah.
And he goes to different parts of the world and looking at people doing different tricks. So that's such a cool experience that you had with him, and he's one of my favorite magicians.
Oh yeah, me too. He's pushes the envelope for sure.
So when did you first come across crypto, and what was your aha moment?
So my brother actually got into crypto way before me, and it was always a topic of discussion at the dinner table back in I feel like even before 2017, but it probably started in 2017 where he learned about Bitcoin, and everyone would talk about it at the dinner table. And I kind of had Coinbase at the time, I think, and I bought some Bitcoin, and I was casually a small investor, but I wasn't super deep into it. And then when COVID happened, I spent a lot of time at home from school, and it was the beginning of DeFi summer. And that is sort of when I learned Solidity a little bit. I learned how to write smart contracts. I was playing with Uniswap and all these compound protocols and things like that. And then I just kind of stopped. I went back to school. I dropped out of it. I didn't really spend much time in crypto whatsoever. And then my senior year, I think it was I can't remember the order of events, but basically my senior year I had to stay home in Vegas because of COVID. And so it was like the second part of COVID.
Sure.
And I spent all this time at home. And during that period of time, it was the beginning of the NFT craze, right? And so, again, people started talking about it. I started looking into it, and I kind of just got back into it. So I started playing with, again, writing, different ERC-721 smart contracts, and really sort of diving deeper into how smart contracts worked and how DeFi worked. The first time around, it was more of a very light pass. This time I was really spending a lot of time just going down the rabbit hole because I had all my free time. Funny enough though, I wasn't an investor in crypto when I was going into it. I didn't get into it by trading or investing in tokens. I got into it because I have a computer science background. So I got into it by writing smart contracts and feeling what the tech really was and really understanding how it worked. So yeah, just a lot of time at home.
Pardon the interruption. Hi, I'm Tony. I'm the host of the Thinking Crypto podcast. I wanted to ask you if you can please support the podcast by hitting the like button, subscribing if you haven't as yet. You can leave a comment below as well. And if you're listening on a podcast platform such as Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts, please be sure to follow and hit the 5-star rating. I'll let you get back to the content. Thank you so much.
So you were kind of bitten by the engineer development bug, right? Not so much the investor bug. Which is really cool. So I have to ask, how did you end up at A16Z? That's such a prestigious investment firm, investing in many different industries, obviously big in crypto. How did you end up there?
So maybe actually, I'll go back to your previous question because there's a link. There's a link that gets there, which is I studied finance and computer science in school, and I was going to go work. I technically did work at BlackRock for a few weeks before I quit to join A16Z.
Wow.
And I was a finance nerd, so I am a traditional markets trader, and very obsessed with all that. My dad does that as well, so we grew up around that in our home. And when I was learning about crypto, one concept totally blew me away, which was the concept of a flash loan. And when I first learned about flash loans, I was totally mind blown because I had studied finance in school. I understood what a loan was and interest and all the covenants around that, but all of a sudden in DeFi, there was this magical ability where you could borrow millions of dollars, do whatever you want with it, return it in 12 seconds with 9% interest. And if for whatever reason the borrower didn't return the money, the transaction was reverted and it's as if it never happened. And I was like, that's real magic. That's crazy. So I got super into the finance piece of it. And because that was just more of how my background in finance from school. And then when I went to BlackRock in the very first week there, it's funny how things have changed. One other person in my introductory class asked, I think it was maybe like the COO at the time, what's his opinion about crypto? And I was already obsessed with crypto. And the COO said, it's a lot of FOMO and hype. And I was like, oh, I don't agree with that. Simultaneously that week, A16Z raised a $2.2 billion fund to invest in crypto startups. So I was like, wow, like I believe in crypto. Like I kind of want to go work in that industry. I got introduced to Ariana Simpson, who is she's no longer a general partner there, but at the time she was a general partner. And after a few conversations, she saved me from the clutches of traditional finance and took me under her wing at A16Z. So that's how I got there.
That's incredible, man. Kind of serendipitous how it happened. Tell us about what are some of the major learnings that you got from working at A16Z and again, all the pedigree of investments they've done in Web 2 and much more. What are some of the major takeaways for you?
Something that I really appreciated about A16Z that I think is very different from other venture firms is that everyone on the deal team, we were all kids at the time. Like I think I joined when I was like 21 years old. Other people were like, the age range was like 21 to 27, 28 maybe. We were all kids who had computer science backgrounds that played with crypto on the weekends. And no one really had investing experience whatsoever. They were just like crypto experts and people understood it extremely deeply. And so that approach to investing is very different because, when we would like talk with founders, we could actually, maybe spar with them a little bit and really like pressure test these ideas versus just, evaluating someone at a high level. But I think, I learned investing on the job, definitely. I mean, I studied it in the background, but really learning how to be a venture investor, I learned from, 3.5 years there. And I think some of the biggest learnings are, when I was in school, I took a venture capital class. And it was maybe like a little bit more of a later stage venture capital class. Sure. And I remembered we had this assignment where we had to read this case and analyze this company. And at the very end, when we were like discussing it in class, the whole 2-hour class, maybe an hour and a half, we talked about the idea, whether it was a good idea, what the size of the market was the positioning of the company good in that market, et cetera, et cetera. And then I remember in the last 5 minutes of the class, it was like, oh, by the way, there's a page at the end of the case where it outlines the founders and the team. And like, they seem like they have pretty good backgrounds, and so they're probably a good team. It was like a throwaway, right? At A16Z, there's this saying, which is, would you rather have a unbelievable team with a terrible idea or an unbelievable idea with a terrible team? And the thesis at A16Z was always, you'd rather have an unbelievable team with a terrible idea because the unbelievable team will pivot and they'll figure it out, right? Yeah. Whereas the other one will fall apart. And so much of what I learned was really about evaluating founders and evaluating people versus trying to be so opinionated about the idea itself.
Very interesting. I don't know if you can share, are there any deals that you particularly worked on as far as investments from a crypto standpoint? Yeah,
so a few. So there was, one was called Alongside, or they changed their name to Universal. Dynamic.xyz, I think they were just acquired by Fireblocks.
Right.
I did not find this deal. Ariana found this deal, but I was like, this is like my first deal there was the SWE or Miston Labs. Yeah, so that was like one of my first deals that I did a deal memo for and all that there. Arpeggi Labs and Kits I did, Splits, 0x Splits. So there was a bunch. I was there for a few years, so there was a handful, but yeah.
Very cool. I know the folks at SWE very well, and I've interviewed a bunch of them and the founder and much more. So that's really amazing, man. I'm sure it sounds like you cut your teeth there in investing and you got a lot of experience from there.
By far the best, my favorite part was getting to meet, because the way it works is like we would like catch up with these founders basically once a month, and I got like really close with a handful of them, and they've become close friends of mine that I hang out with and talk with, and I think I learned more from them than anything else, because at the end of the day, they're the ones on the front lines, and so yeah.
That's amazing. I'm jealous of that you got to talk to these founders, because I do this obviously interviewing folks, and it's so awesome to be able to gain that knowledge and garner that knowledge from these folks, but being able to talk to them on, let's say, a weekly basis and learn about their thought process and much more in real life situations that's pretty amazing.
It's really humbling, by the way, because a lot of when you think about investors and their thought pieces and all that, like they really seem like they're like these all-knowing oracles that understand where the future is going. But the reality is like the founder is the one that's like figuring out the future and like executing on it. And so I think getting to talk to some of these people and seeing them go through extreme highs and extreme lows and the problems they would deal with was just insane. Like I even remember I had one founder email me, like this was, I forget what year it was, but around the time of like the debanking stuff, we had just given them a couple $1 million of an investment, and I got an email that was like, we can't open a bank account. Like where are we supposed to, like, can you send it in stablecoins? Like what are we supposed to do? And as a 22-year-old, like coming out of college, hearing that, it really like brings you into the real world real quick from school. And like, wow, like this stuff is crazy. So it was good learning.
Wow. And now, Michael, you find yourself as a founder building Drip.
Yes.
So tell us about Drip. What is the mission? What does it do?
Yeah. So I left A16Z about a year and a half ago, give or take, to join my brother to build some new products. And all of the products that we built over the past year have the same thesis, which is we are exploring programmable money for creators. I got into crypto really seriously around the NFT, beginning of the NFT phase. I really believe that crypto is a unique technology to help creators. And so I have over the years had opinions about how I think that should work. And so after investing for a few years, I am now, of course, building some of these ideas myself. And so, about the past year, we spent time building a product called Bond, which we don't have to talk about, but that was a different type of creator product. And it didn't quite work out as I had expected. And Drip started to make a lot of sense because all of the pieces of technology that I needed to build Drip kind of happened at the same time. Like I could not have built Drip, a year ago if I really wanted to. And so maybe to just describe a little bit more what Drip is to make it.
Sure.
It's we give writers the tools to sell their paywalled or otherwise gated content to AI agents directly. And so when you're in ChatGPT and you're talking to chat and you're doing research, it does not have access to this paywalled content.
Right.
And so now what you can do is actually allow it to get access to some of this paywalled content. And so one example of this is we're starting with premium financial writers. And so if you want like some of the best Substacks are like financial analysts, stock picks, things like that.
Right.
And so if you're trying to do like vibe investing or using ChatGPT to make an investment decision, you might want to access that content. And how are you going to do that? Well, let's let the AI agent get access to it. And so the idea of like stablecoins, AI agents sort of taking off, as well as these payment protocols of X402 and MPP, all kind of coming together it gave me all the tools to like actually bring this product to life.
Yeah, it's fascinating. All these technologies are converging at this point, right? And they benefit each other, and there's cross-pollination. So let's say Michael Burry, he has a premium Substack, if I'm not mistaken. You essentially go buy that content, and then you have it in the ecosystem of Drip, and any AI agent can come in and purchase that information.
Exactly.
And distribute it to wherever they want.
So it's more, I wouldn't say like redistribute, but it's more like, so we'll go out, we'll pay for these subscriptions, we'll ingest the content. And now if you're an agent, you can like access these posts on a pay-per-use basis and use it in synthesis of your other research. So actually, like if you're an agent buying this, you're not actually getting the article raw directly. Okay. You're getting like we have our own like summarizer and analysis that we like pull out the core guts of what this writer's talking about and return that to the agent to use in their research or whatever they're doing. And when the agent pays for it, they'll pay like 10 cents, for example, and that 10 cents goes to, in this case, Michael Burry.
Very interesting. So how does that work as far as the real-time transfer of value back to Michael Burry? Because if you purchase a subscription to his Substack, it's a one-time transaction, if I'm not mistaken. So how does the ongoing revenue feed back to him?
Yeah, so this is where the magic of crypto comes in via stablecoins. And so what happens is when you purchase this article, so like we kind of give accounts to writers optimistically on our platforms. Like Michael Burry has an account with a wallet. And so when your agent pays 10 cents for his article, it basically transfers it, assuming your agent has a wallet with money in it. That's like the first, that's the first bet we're making. We're making this bet that like everyone's going to be using AI agents and they're all going to have wallets with stablecoins in them or credit cards in them.
Right.
And so when your agent pays for one of these articles, it settles in stablecoins to that writer's wallet. So he just gets that money immediately.
Very interesting. And then with regards to crafting the summary of what's in the newsletter, are you using AI? Are you using your own LLM and things like that?
Yeah. So we are like, we ingest the article, we like chunk it up, and then we have like our own system prompt and using other models to actually like summarize and synthesize and pull out the most important pieces of these articles into our system. And so, yeah, we're using AI not only from the perspective of like an AI agent is going to buy this article, but also to ingest the content and use it ourselves too.
And how do you go out and get these writers and even to build that long-term relationship where they get the ongoing revenue versus the one-time transaction on Substack?
Yeah. So, well, right now we're in like active conversations with many writers to get them to come and, hopefully opt into this type of thing.
Sure.
But what's interesting is this is a fundamentally different model than a subscription. And I don't actually look at this as a replacement to a subscription. This is additive and complementary. And so, for example, when you're a subscriber, you are looking for that ongoing relationship. You are looking to have a direct communication with this writer. Maybe you always want to have first dibs at their new publications and whatnot. Whereas this is for like that marginal user that's probably not going to be a subscriber, right? And so at the end of the day, my bet is in the long run, most people are going to be interfacing with the internet through their agents, and agents are probably not going to be subscribers, okay? Because you might have a lot of them and they might be querying lots of things at once. And so you're going to have this situation where there's a new type of user that's going to want to access your stuff and they'll be willing to pay for it as well. But it doesn't quite fit into the model of an existing subscriber, right? It is actually a little bit more transactional. They're gonna take your content, they're gonna synthesize it, they'll use it in their research for whatever the agent's doing for their human counterpart, right? And then that's it. And so they may come back to purchase another article, or they might not. But it's definitely not it's a different type of relationship. It's not an ongoing one.
And I could totally see that, because in a mock scenario, let's say something new pops up. Let's say SpaceX is about to do an IPO, and I want to hear what Burry and somebody else wants to say about it. But I'm not going to be thinking about this a year from now. So I have my AI agent or agents go out, fielding the information,
exactly,
bring it back to me, and within a 2 to 3 month window, that's all I need, because I may be looking to invest in the SpaceX IPO. Exactly.
And by the way, this is already happening without our system. Okay, so for example, I have plenty of times gone to like a writer will publish something, I'll pay $10 for the subscription, I'll read the article, and then I'll unsubscribe. I'll be gone. I will not stay, right?
Yeah.
Or if I ever do like forget to unsubscribe, maybe it'll, I'll give them another $10 for 2 more months, and then I'll unsubscribe, right? Because I only cared about that one article. Or I've heard from writers that people will actually, they'll subscribe, they will then take all of the paywalled content, they'll toss it into ChatGPT, right? So let's say someone did that for you. So that's it. They took all of Tony's content, they put it in ChatGPT, and then what they'll say is given everything you know about what Tony has written, how would he respond to this new trend in tech, right? And it will use your synthesis to answer a new question. What's interesting about that is all of that analysis and access, you're not benefiting from that at all, right? But it's happening anyways.
Right.
And so the approach that I'm taking is this is going to happen no matter what, right? Agents are going to want to access your content. They're going to want to scrape it. They're going to want to get behind the paywall. And so why not build the system to make it, beneficial to the writer, where they can actually get compensated and cited for an agent using their work?
So let's talk about the logistics of the stablecoin payments, right? Because if the AI agents have the wallets and they're able to make the payments, which stablecoins are you supporting? Which blockchains are you supporting?
So today versus the future. So today we support the base Coinbase Layer 2 blockchain, and we support Tempo. And payments are in USDC. And so a lot of the way that these wallets work, basically, so if you've given your agent a wallet, and there are a bunch of them, so like Agent Cash, the Link wallet from Stripe, the Circle has a wallet, Privy has a wallet. All these are wallets you can give your agent. They're stablecoin wallets. They are all like clients, and so they all understand how to read the protocol of payment that we're using, which is X402 and MPP. And so they know that like if we accept Base and the user has funds on Base, it should use the funds that the user has on Base to make the payment. Long term, though, we are completely agnostic. Like I'm gonna want to support Solana. I'm gonna want to support Arc, which is Circle's new layer 1. Because to me, it kind of doesn't really matter, right? Like it's USDC, it's instant settlement. I want to have the broadest support for all the payment networks because I don't know, some people might not have money on some of these networks, and so you know, I want to support them all.
Yeah, just a great example. We're recording this on Thursday, June 4th. Just yesterday, MasterCard announced the integration of and support of multiple stablecoins, PayPal's PYUSD, Ripple's RLUSD, and a bunch of others. So to your point, it's going to be a multi-currency, multi-chain world.
Yeah. One thing I will say about the multi-currency thing, though, is I think right now I'm really only interested in supporting USDC. And the reason for that is because what I want to do next, which is if you have all of these writers that have wallets and they are earning, you know, small amounts from people purchasing their articles and they're accruing this stablecoin balance on a blockchain, well, then I get to do the really cool stuff, which is I get to connect that into DeFi, right? I get to let them earn yield on those balances. I can do, you know, these really cool splits and financial structures on chain using those balances. And so when I can think about that as a developer, I want to have a currency that has the most liquidity throughout the ecosystem. And so at least today, that's like USDC or Tether. And so, you know, if I want, you know, to let my writers plug in their balance into a Morpho vault and earn, you know, 3 to 4%, I probably want it to be in USDC, at least for now.
Yeah, I mean, USDC, from a network effects adoption standpoint, it has it. Other stablecoins are still trying to build their network effects. So I'm with you there. But eventually, as those other stablecoins grow, then you would integrate them as long as they have all the bells and whistles. Like USDC. Exactly. That definitely makes sense. So this really fascinates me. And how are you thinking about competition? Because what's stopping someone of building something similar? Is it your proprietary LLM? The way you're summarizing content and things like that?
So I think there's two types of competition. One is the incumbents. So like the existing newsletter platforms decide to integrate it themselves. And I'm not, you know, look, anything can happen. I'm not so concerned about those. And the reason is I think what we're building is actually different from their mission statements as companies, right? Like Substack, Beehive, all of these other newsletter platforms, their whole mission statement for a writer is own your audience, have a direct relationship with your audience so that you can communicate with them and, you know who they are and have their email. Whereas if you think what I just said, like when an agent's buying your article, you don't necessarily know who they are. They certainly might come back and buy multiple times, but you don't know their email, there's no connection. And so we're building for a different demand source, right? And so I think I'm not sure how quickly those other companies would be, you know, or how at least writers on those platforms would like them saying, oh, like now agents that are anonymous that you don't know who they are can buy your content. So that I'm you know not so concerned about, but it certainly could happen. The other thing is we're building a marketplace. And so at the end of the day, we have writers that we hope to trust us. And then we are going to have, you know, the users who are the demand source that are trusting us for the best content. And so right now, in order for me to build a moat as a founder, I'm just trying to seed that marketplace. And so it's still early days, of course. But, you know, as Ben Thompson always says on the Stratechery blog, I don't know if you read that, but he talks about this concept called the aggregation theory, which is that some of the most successful internet companies, it's they own the demand and they commoditize the supply, right? And that's their strategy. And so I think the approach we're taking right now is own the demand, right? We want investors, prosumer, retail investors, whatever that might be, to come and use us as a useful tool to synthesize across all of this information. You know, there are, you know, hundreds of really great premium financial newsletters. There are hundreds of really great podcasts of you know, where analysts come on and they talk about their latest opinions on the market. No one has time to understand and synthesize all that as a person, right? And so if you could come to one place and say, you know, what stocks are the top analysts talking about this week, and you can have an agent that goes out, understands all the top premium newsletters, understands all the podcasts, pulls it all down for you into a nice little report, that's an extremely useful tool. And along the way, you're going to pay per you know, resource that your agent uses to give you that report, right? Instead of going out and paying $100 a month to the top 100 finance newsletters. That's no one's going to do that.
Yeah. No, you're spot on. I just think anecdotally myself, like there's so many newsletters and podcasts I want to listen to, but I don't have the time. But if I can have, to your point, the aggregation of that information and in a bite-sized format and giving me the quick hits, right? That's very valuable.
Exactly.
So I love that. And I love that the marketplace that you guys are building. And obviously you and I are going to have an offline conversation about, my stuff. But I love it. It's really, really fascinating. So outside of finance, are you approaching other industries and writers and so forth?
We are hyper focused on, finance and tech business right now. Maybe more, I guess geopolitics is probably another one because it certainly relates to financial markets. However, there is another category that I think I want to do next, which is going to sound random, but it's food influencers and recipes and writers. Because I feel like that's such people go to ChatGPT and ask for recipes all the time.
Absolutely.
And I think people would totally pay $1 to combine and mix and match some of the top, newsletters that I've paid recipes on Substack. I think that'd be a really fun use case. So we'll see though. I don't know if that's next, but
I'm an example of that because my wife and I have looked at, okay, what do we want to cook? And what is this person saying? What is this chef saying? What is something new that we just don't have the time? We have a kid, we work, it's life happens. So if you can have this information and you have the AI agent going out and getting it, and you're not paying obscene amounts of money. I got to pay $1,000 because I'm subscribing to 20 newsletters. I could pay, I don't know, $50 and I get all the information.
Yeah,
it's not bad.
Exactly, 100%. So I don't know when we'll do that, but that's definitely one I've thought a little bit about.
Yeah, no, the aggregation is very valuable because as human beings, if we can get back time and things can be more efficient, we don't have to read TLDR, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, as far as the AI agentic economy, right? Lots of talk of that happening. Obviously, with your expertise in investing, your background in tech, and what you're building, where do you see the AI agentic economy in 2030, let's say?
I think, and this is maybe a crazy statement, but I think we're going to go back to a pay-per-use economic model on the internet, which is, we were there already, right? It was like iTunes, right? So you used to pay 99 cents a song. Spotify brilliantly came along, $20 a month, you get everything, right? And subscriptions have taken over the internet. Everyone has subscription fatigue. The problem is that people get annoyed managing all these subscriptions. You hear it's the number one, everyone complains about them. No one wants all these subscriptions. And people actually say all the time, if only I could, pay per use, if only I could buy just this one thing, I totally would.
Right.
And here's the thing, I actually think people don't know what they want and they wouldn't. And the reason why people wouldn't pay per use is because it's too much mental load. Right? Imagine if every single thing you did on the internet, you had to click a button and decide that you wanted to buy it. Subscriptions do a really good job of getting rid of that mental burden, right? However, when you add an agent or an AI agent in front of that, it abstracts away all the purchasing decisions. And so you can give your agent a budget, maybe $100, and it's going to finance your life. Any research you need to do, anything you need to pay for, whether that's ordering food, doing research on drip, making an investment, whatever it might be, it might pay $1, it might pay sub-penny transaction fees, whatever it might be. You as a user are not going to see that. The agent is going to deal with it for you. And so in a world where the agent can now pay per use, I think things might go back to that. And so you might have especially in the tech world, big software as a service, subscription APIs. Instead of me paying $50 a month, I'll just pay, 0.001 cents per API call. And that's going to be how it is pay per use. It just gets abstracted away.
Right. The agent helps take away the burden, the mental load, so to speak.
Exactly.
To get it done. And yeah, I'm giving examples of my own life because these are friction points in my life where that would make my life easier because with all these subscription platforms, for example, the NBA, I'm a big basketball fan, big Knicks fan, go Knicks. They started putting their games on different platforms, Peacock and Amazon Prime. I didn't have a Peacock subscription, but I had to go get one. But if I can just a la carte say, I just want it for this game. I don't care about the other games or these handful of games. That would be ideal. Right.
And then imagine though, what would happen if you did that and then it said it was $9.99 to watch the show. Now you'll probably yeah, of course I'll pay for that. I don't care. Right. At scale, though, you would just say, hey, I want to watch the latest basketball game. And your agent will pay that for you. You won't even know that it was $9, right? It will just happen because you gave it a budget and it just knew that it's what you wanted, right? So it would abstract away that little bit of friction that you have, like, should I actually buy this, will get removed.
Do you foresee we will have multiple AI agents working for us, not just one?
I think so. Maybe. I don't have like a strong opinion here. I mean, I sort of think, like, when I say to people I have like multiple agents running at home, I say I have multiple chats going on in Codex right now, and they're all like doing different things. And so yes, they're all agents, but they also all have like the same context. They all have the same wallet. They all know about me. They all know what I'm working on. And so, yeah, it's like more of a context thing.
Sure.
I think everyone's going to have like their context of who they are as a person, their wallet, what they're interested in, what they're doing, and then your agent will take all that into consideration as it goes and does things for you, or spin off sub agents.
Sub agents,
yeah, or like, but like it's funny, like it's a little bit of a buzzword. To me, I just think of like it's doing a task. That's all it is, right? So whether it's a sub agent, whether it's 3 agents, just get the task done. Like, I don't really think about it as like having an army of agents working for me.
Right.
But what you might have is an army of, agents with different contexts. And that's what I meant. And so like you'll have this central repository, like it knows everything about you. And then I might have this agent go off as a sub agent and build me an app. I might have another agent go off and write tweets and marketing content for me because it understands how to do that thing, like very specific thing, very well.
Sure.
Right. And so, but like, I guess, yeah, technically those are multiple agents working for me, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's TBD, right?
Yeah.
To see how it all works. Because like, in my mind, I'm thinking one agent manages my household stuff, utilities, groceries, whatever it is. Another one handles the cars, or maybe the same one handles the car stuff when the car needs to be maintained or whatever it is. And then there's one that's handling my finances and other things. So, or it could eventually, it becomes so sophisticated that, to your point, there's a head honcho agent that has its own mini agents doing things, but it's one interface that I'm dealing with the whole time.
Which is kind of how I work today, right? Like if I'm working on a code base and I'm using, Codex, for example, to write some code, I have a folder and I have, the chat interface in that folder has all the context of all the files in that folder. It's like, it understands the brain. I might even have like a .agents or an agents file that has like specific rules related to this code project that I'm working on. And every chat that I spin up or every agent that I spin up to work on that code base has all of that content, right? And so right now I am actually operating as like the head brain, and I'm saying, hey, can you edit this part of the code? That's one agent. Hey, can you edit this part of the code? That's another agent. And it all has the same context. It all is working from the same starting point.
Right.
But they're just doing different things, within that universe.
Very interesting. This might be a question out of left field, but humanoid robots are coming. And I'm assuming agents are going to be integrated, the same type of tech, so to speak. I don't know if it makes sense what you're doing could feed into that, because let's say I want to talk to the humanoid robot in my house regarding, hey, tell me what Burry is saying about this stock or whatever maybe, or what's maybe coming next with the markets, versus I'm talking to an app, but I want to talk. Do you think there's going to be interoperability?
I think the way I think about this exact point is we just don't know yet what the interface to these agents is going to be, right? So it might be a necklace with a speaker. It might be your AirPods. It might be a robot that's rocking around your house.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, the agent brain, the tool use, the context, the memory, all of that's the same.
Right.
But I don't know the user interface, that we're going to use. So certainly you might have a humanoid robot that's like doing your dishes, that's connected to the same brain with the same tools and the same context that is on your phone and is in your AirPods.
Right.
So yeah, I have no idea what the best interface is gonna be yet.
Yeah, because let's say they're all running on the same network, so to speak, and there's just connectivity between my devices, the humanoid robot, to your point, my smartwatch, my phone, my Meta glasses, and it's like Jarvis, right?
100%.
I could be like, Jarvis, wherever I'm at, Jarvis, robots here, Jarvis, whatever, and
I think it's going to be AirPods or glasses, probably.
Okay.
Like that will be. I mean, that is not a hot take. By the way. I think a lot of people probably agree with that, but I think that's probably where it will go. I walk around the city all day with my AirPods in anyways.
Right, yeah.
I already have Siri reading me messages as I get them, and I can shake my head and say, don't read this message.
Right.
Like it already exists. It's just a few clicks away
The
from...
foundation is there, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's just
Yeah.
building on it. It's so fascinating, man. It's a brave new world we're heading
100%.
to. Aside from stable coins and building on base and things like that, are there other plans to integrate crypto or blockchain tech, or is it still too early for that?
Yeah, I mean, the dream eventually would be, like, the very next thing that, it's not a priority right now, but certainly on the roadmap, is to allow writers to take, as they receive like sub-penny transactions from agents paying for their articles. So you can imagine a wallet that is just getting streaming payments, right? Like maybe Michael Burry, for example. Like every day people are looking at his stock picks. He's just getting 10 cents, 10 cents, 10 cents from 10,000s of agents that are querying his stuff every day. And all of that money is flowing right into a Morphle vault. And he's earning, 5% interest on that while it's streaming in. So he's not just getting the principal payment. He's now earning interest on his money as it's coming into his account. That is just something you can't do with traditional financial rails.
Right.
And so that's probably like the next crypto DeFi thing that I would want to integrate.
Yeah, that absolutely makes sense. You can park the money, earn off of it, or withdraw it if you want, but having the optionality is very, very cool.
Exactly, yeah.
What else is on your roadmap?
So I think I briefly mentioned this, but the next thing on our roadmap is we started with newsletters, and the next thing we're going to do is podcasts. And so what's interesting about the newsletter angle was that I actually did this. Like I went out and I subscribed to 30 newsletters, and it flooded my inbox. Right. So not only was it a actual cost of money, paying $20, $50, $100 a month for some of these great newsletters, but also my inbox was flooded. I couldn't read through all these emails that I was getting every day. So AI did a really good job of synthesizing all of that. But that is a monetary cost. Podcasts have a time cost. Right. And so, like you said before, I follow 10 podcasts. They all release an hour-long episode a week. I do not have time to go listen to every one of those episodes. However, if I could, synthesize that information, pull out the specific pieces that I care about, and maybe if I really care, there's like one that has a point that it's talking about that I want to go listen to the full thing, I'll go off and do that. But the initial step to like analyzing those podcasts will be like, what's the hottest take in financial markets this week? It goes out, it pulls all the, financial podcasts, gets the transcripts, gives me the summary, and along the way, it pays the podcast creator every time it accesses those transcripts.
Wow.
And so what's interesting about that model that's different from the newsletter one is that in the newsletter model, they already make money on the internet via subscriptions. We are giving them a new way to make money on the internet via this new demand source, right?
Yeah.
With podcasts, the primary way that podcasters make money, and correct me if I'm wrong, is through advertisements.
Yes.
Right? And so this is like definitely a really new way, right, to monetize your content that isn't just somebody coming and listening to your stuff.
Well, Michael, like I said, you and I are going to be talking offline.
Definitely, yeah, 100%.
Because that really fascinates me, and to have another revenue stream. And I think, to your point, saving people's time and being able to give them the content in a digestible format. And if they want, they can go listen to the long form version when they have time.
For sure.
But the quick and easy aggregation, I think, is key.
And when you get if you go on our website, like I'll do a little plug, like dripstack.xyz. Like if you go to our website and try it out, it's super easy. When it gives you a synthesized response, it credits fully the sources it used and links directly to your podcast. So if somebody really wanted to go and listen to it, they just click the link and they go to Spotify and they can listen to your podcast. And so, we are giving you a new way to distribute and for people to discover your content as well.
I love it, man. Michael, I got some wrap-up questions here for you.
Let's do it.
First, are you an early bird or night owl?
Both, believe it or not. I wake up at 7:30 and I go to bed like at midnight or 1. And so I sandwich it. I'm both.
The life of a founder, right?
Yeah, exactly. Middle of the day, I'm dead, tired. But like morning and evening, full stop.
Oh yeah, I could relate to that. I've had periods of my life like that. Window seat or aisle?
Aisle. It's more efficient.
Text, email, or call?
Call.
What's one company outside of crypto you admire?
Obsidian. which is the note-taking app.
Oh, yeah. If you could have dinner with any person, living or dead, who would it be?
Can I give two?
Sure.
Harry Houdini.
Yes, of course.
And another very, he's not a well-known magician at all, Chan Canasta.
I don't think I've heard.
Yeah, no, very, very few people. Like, he was not big at all, but he was a legend, at least in my eyes. And so I would definitely love to meet him.
I got to research that. Research him, I should say. Best advice you've ever gotten?
Can I give two?
Sure.
Okay. Both from magicians, believe it or not.
Very interesting.
One was, as soon as you think you've mastered something, everybody else will surpass you. So always be a student and always be learning. And you can learn to get lucky. Those are my two lessons that I come back to a lot every day.
I resonate very much with the first one.
Yeah.
That's yeah, because I've seen it in my own life. And the time where my ego and my pride goes up, and you get humbled, but stay humble, and you continue to learn, and don't get too high on your own supply or whatever it may be.
100%.
Way to go, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Michael, absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Love what you're building. Folks, links will be in the description to check out Drip. And we'll have to do a round two as things progress and you integrate podcasts and much more. But thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks so much, Tony. This was great.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Please hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't as yet. If you're listening on a podcast platform such as Spotify or Apple, please follow and leave a 5-star rating. Thank you so much.